Yeah, a lot happening here. Joining us to discuss what exactly happened there with those 7 states, Republican Congressman from Georgia, Doug Collins, is joining us live. And chairman at the American Conservative Union, Matt Schlapp, author of the book, The Desecrators, and chairman of the American Conservative Union, joining us here as well. Good to see you, Doug and Matt. Thank you so much for taking the time here on National Report. Doug, let me start with you. San Francisco, what do you make of the voters there in the one of the most liberal cities ousting their DA there, Chesa Boudin? I believe it was a 60-40 there. Strong message to soft on crime policies. Your thoughts and what's happening there in California, specifically San Francisco. Doug.
Well, it just goes to show that everybody wants to be safe. But I want to say something very clearly. And I've heard it in reports over and over that this was a rebuke to criminal justice reform. No, this was a rebuke to bad criminal justice reform, the wrong-headed criminal justice reform, in which you're not holding people accountable and you're not providing a safety for your city. What they rejected was a DA who did not do his job and did not keep people safe. True criminal justice reform was like what Matt Schlapp and President Trump and myself and others did under the First Step Act, where we actually make cities safer, protect our police, but hold people accountable, but do so in ways that remind you that the criminals, that the people who are convicted criminals who go to jail do come back home. There's ways to do this properly. This is a great day for criminal justice reform because it showed that this liberal fiasco of what they call criminal justice reform is simply a wrong-headed idea from George Soros. I'm so glad to see this happen on many fronts.
Let's get a reaction from Matt Schlapp.
Yeah, I would say there's a Black Lives Matter pushback. You know, Black Lives Matter was all about attacking cops, defunding cops, basically saying that the people that we persecute for crimes, it's all done because we're systemically racist. It's all about being racist. And what the people of San Francisco realized with this Black Lives Matter pushback, which also is against the institution of the family, moms and dads, they see that when the government goes after parents and calls them domestic terrorists, teaches their kids to be confused about their gender and whether America's a good place. And when you attack cops and defund them, you get escalating crime and you get schools in chaos. Think about this. The voters of San Francisco are repudiating the politics of the Democratic Party. Whoever would have imagined that would have happened? That's why people realize that if that can happen in the belly of the beast in San Francisco, what's going to happen in purple America? What's going to happen in flyover country? We are going to dominate this election, not because we're so pretty, but because the other side has become so extreme.
Yeah, and to point out for viewers that may not understand what is happening there in San Francisco, homicide is up, rape is up, theft is up. The list continues to go on. And apparently the voters have had enough of it. Let's turn now to January 6th. The committee, Democrats expected to hold live primetime hearings tomorrow night. There's a big push about this. The guest co-host Joy Behar openly boasted that the Democrats, according to Axios, hired former ABC President James Goldston to help organize that presentation tomorrow night and turn it into what they called, quote, a theatrical event. Watch this moment.
They must present this in the most dramatic way they can so that people will continue to watch. So I don't object to the theatricality of it.
Doug Collins, your thoughts on J6 committee hearings live on primetime? Just about every network will be showing this.
Well, it just shows you again that the roundabout way that we're going about this. What we're seeing is hiring a producer to actually do this. Why can't the Congress men and women on that committee, if they're really committed to doing whatever they say they're going to do, which, by the way, the last few days they've talked more about election reform than they have even, the issues of January 6th. They're hiring outside producers. I've been on the Hill during some of the most watched events in commissions that we've had. The impeachment hearings, I've been there, and I've watched them try to stage this for the American people. And a lot of times what I've seen when they try to stage it for the American people is what they're trying to do is make it look good, but they can't provide the substance. So we're going to see how this really goes. But again, it's just sad that you've got men and women in Congress who are elected to be leaders who choose to go to prime time because they don't think anybody will watch them and to get their airtime. But also then they have to go outside to hire using taxpayer dollars. They're hiring people to come in and make a theatrical event out of Congress. Look, I think they've already made a theatrical event out of a lot of this. It's called a circus. And, as we go along on this process, we'll see what happens. People are going to watch. They're going to make their own determination. But what I have found is when Democrats try to really make it theatrical, be careful because they're really not got a lot to say. And it's going to, I think, show up in what they're doing.
And there's a strong argument made, I just want to remind viewers as well, that is this bipartisan, yes or no? There are two Republicans on it. However, it's Kinzinger and Cheney. There was a time where Kevin McCarthy would have been, or rather he tried to put some of his choices on this panel. The speaker blocked that. So essentially you're airing a Democratic committee. And again, to conservatives that many conservatives don't believe they're conservatives.
They're not.
Mercedes Schlapp tweeted about this committee now that we're talking about it. And here she's, and I'll go to Matt obviously after this. And she says this, Mercedes says, reminder that the J6 committee is being led by Representative Benny Thompson, who voted to overturn the 2004 election. Representative Jamie Raskin, who voted to overturn the 2016 election. And Representative Adam Schiff, who claimed for years that he had proof of Russian collusion. We know that was never true from the Mueller report and also the debunked Steele dossier. The list goes on. Matt, your response.
Yeah, I'm just tweeting what Mercy tells me to tweet these days because she's on fire about this. Look, CPAC was able to uncover that Liz Cheney has been soliciting campaign contributions from those she has worked to subpoena on this committee. We have, if you go to our website, we have a war room. You can go to the ACU website at the First Amendment Fund and track all the information that we're putting out there. You know, Tom Fitton at Judicial Watch was able to, through a FOIA, uncover that the force on January 6th was at 50% strength due to the panic over COVID. There are so many basic questions that need to be answered about this 1-6 charade. And I'll just say one final thing. When you don't have a smoking gun, when you don't have any facts, and by the way, Doug Collins knows this, it's impossible for Congress not to leak if they actually had facts. Then you have to turn it into a show because that's all you got left. And we're paying for that show. They've already spent at least $5 million on this whole charade. We're all paying for what the New York Times called is a strategy to mitigate the Democrats' losses in November. Think about that. It's all like a Democrat convention.
They're supposed to be.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
Can I look at it? Because Matt just made a great point. I want to point out is also you talked about the bipartisanship here. Whether you know whatever you want to say about it, which it is not. It was not done the way a committee is supposed to be done. But here's the thing that bothers me: that you're talking about election reform, you're talking about the strategy, but they have never, looked forward to interviewing Democratic leadership, Pelosi, Hoyer, any of the others. What Matt's point he brought out just is a very interesting, because the Speaker's office coordinates the response, the Capitol Hill, the security. They oversee that, and they've never been asked about this. So it's not just the fact that it's partisan, Democrat, Republicans, or whatever. It's also the fact of what are they actually looking for. So I agree with Matt. It's going to be interesting to see how these things turn out, and if you're having to put it in prime time, you're having to hype it up maybe a little too much.
They are going to put pre-edited video into it. This is going to be a show. Again, that will be on Thursday, I believe, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I let you go, let's talk Peter Navarro for a second here. Arrested, but in also somewhat of a theatrical fashion, if you will. He was shackled. He was cuffed. He claims he was denied food and water on his Twitter account. He joined Eric Bowling, The Balance, a show right here at 4 p.m. Eastern Time here on Newsmax. Here's Navarro. Watch.
I was denied legal advice till I got in front of that magistrate right off the bat. That, look, illegal alien, everything from illegal aliens to Al-Qaeda terrorists were treated better than I was that day.
Quick soundbite there, but again, Matt, your reaction. Some say there is a double standard, two-tier justice system. What happened to Navarro? Should it have been carried out that way in terms of the arrest made?
Well, look, between Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, people can like things they say, don't like things they say, but no matter what they think, it is untenable to be in a system with a two-tier justice system. It's actually not based on race. It's based on your politics. And the reason why Steve Bannon was indicted and the reason why Peter Navarro was indicted and shackled and brought to John Hinckley's prison cell in Washington, D.C. is because of their politics and because both of them chose not to play the game. They looked these grand juries and these judges in the eyes and they said, I didn't do anything wrong. And they were indicted because of their politics. And Doug Collins knows this. When you don't follow a congressional subpoena, in our history, it has hardly ever happened that they coordinate with DOJ to make sure you get indicted because they're separate branches of government. This is a very scary thing that this is happening.
All right, got to leave it right there. I'm out of time. Doug, apologies. I'd love to hear what you got to say, as always. Doug Collins joining us. Matt Schlapp, thank you so much. Good to see you. We appreciate it. I know our viewers do, too.